People were also stealing items and looting stores at various locations overnight as well.
Sunrise cannot come soon enough for the police, trying to keep New Orleans from becoming a city of outlaws.
The ability to attack at night when all of the rest of the world defenses are at 10% of what they are in daytime.
Some people have gone back home to try to defend what they have left.
This is my dad helping me board up windows. You know, it's tough.
And you're the most vulnerable when your property from your home has been scattered throughout the neighborhood.
Is the night. We own the night.
What's up? I'm here to talk about night vision and night vision setup. I'm Mike O'Dowd with USCCA, and whether you are thinking about buying your night vision or you have already bought a set and you want to implement it now with your gear and make it a total package, let's talk about how to set it up properly, how to wear it, and how to walk around through your house and train it. So what I'm going to go over today is the 4 essential items that you need with your night vision package, including your helmet, your mount, your optic, and your laser package, which is going to include like some kind of IR floodlight. So a lot of people go out and they buy their night vision because they've seen it in the movies or it's very cool. It is a very expensive package, so varying degrees of technology and varying degrees of like quality. But assuming that you got a nice set that has a high FOM at a decent value, you can pretty much do a whole lot with those that you can't do without night vision, and you're just stuck to white light. So I want to go over first just a little bit about the setup. All right. The setup that I'm going to be walking through today is the binocular setup, the helmet mounted setup. That is something that's probably the most common that you'll see. It does cost quite a bit more because you have to have the helmet, the mount, and the accessories, but it's definitely going to be the most user-friendly and give you the most use cases, whether that's hiking, whether that's defending your home, whether that's monitoring your yard, or even going out hunting. You're going to want something set up on your helmet or the ability to strap it to your head. I am using a bump helmet. So my bump helmet, meaning it's like a skateboard helmet, like it's just a shell, it's much lighter weight, and it's got a whole lot of pads in here. This is one I used for, from over a decade ago. I got this thing and it still runs perfectly, but there's a lot out there on the market, whether you want ballistic or just, even straps. They make, I think they're called skull crushers. It's just the way to support the device on your head and on your face. The next thing you want to look for is the mounts. There's a few different types of mounts that you can get. The more common mount for the modern day Gen 3 night vision are these Wilcox mounts. It allows you to move the night vision up, move them down into place, and then you can swivel and articulate them in different positions. Allows the night vision to go out and back closer to your face. And it also has a way to like take the whole thing off if you don't want to use your night vision. You're always going to want to go with a lanyard, okay? So whether you use the internal to helmet bungee lanyards that are attached here to attach it to your helmet, or use a separate lanyard that retracts like this Wilcox one that's built in, it doesn't really matter. What you want to make sure is that your $5,000 to $10,000 set of night vision that you just spent isn't going to break off from your helmet and smash on the ground or fall into the ocean. That's a really, really devastating thing for you. So keep it connected and keep it safe. So what I need to make sure is that it fits to my face so that the eyepiece isn't too far away from my eyes, because that makes the field of vision much, much smaller, and it gives off a little bit more light on my face and can give away my position, also backlight me. So I want to bring it closer to my face, but it's also not necessarily touching and bumping on my head the whole time. So that perfect fit match is what I'm looking for. I'm also looking for, when I bring the tubes down, how high or low it sits. So there is a way to raise how high and low by how you slide the mount up and down on your face, but you want it to be sitting level. You can also adjust via the helmet. So you can adjust actually the helmet, how it sits on your head. That's another option. And you can also work with the angle. So the angle here it has a little twist knob where I can change the angle of if it sits upward, downward, and you just want to tame it to your face so that you have the most clear view and the most comfortable fit possible. Because when you are wearing these, operationally, you're wearing these for hours and hours. And if you are hunting or you are hiking, these are things that you're going to be wearing for quite a lot of time. So you definitely need it to be comfortable. Otherwise, it's going to be a miserable experience. Something people also do, they put counterweights on. Let's go back like 10, 12 years when night vision was being worn all the time overseas, but it was very inaccessible to people back at home. Operators would put counterweights on their helmet, and because the front heaviness, it was putting drag, and as you would bump around, the night vision would get lower and lower and lower. Well, the counterweights are an option for you at home. You can put a counterweight on here, but modern day helmet technology has been adding in these ratchet support structures in the back of their helmets, different types. Sometimes it's Velcro, sometimes it's a ratchet. And what it'll do is it'll screw down on the back of your head, actually at the base, and hold the helmet in place. I've actually never had to use a counterweight because of this. On ballistic helmets overseas back in the day, I would. But currently, I don't need a counterweight with this because it has the ratchet that holds it. But if you didn't have that, just throw a little counterweight on here, something you can Velcro on the back or glue on the back. That'll balance it out, but not a necessary thing, just a nice to have. There are dust covers. So dust covers, and then there are lens pieces, and these lens pieces are just protector lens pieces. You just spent an enormous amount on this product and this tech. You want to protect it, so you always want to put a lens cap on it. That way, if it gets scratched, if it gets debris in it, you're not worried. You can replace them very cheaply. And then your dust covers, you don't want to take your dust covers off and just remove them. You always want to have your dust covers. That way, when you're not using them, it stays safe. And all you have to do when it's time to use them is slide them off to the side, and they just hang out of the way. Something that's also nice to have are these daytime caps. So it'd be challenging to see this, but this cap has a tiny pinhole in the center of it. And that tiny pinhole, if I feel like training this in the daytime, I can put this cap on. It'll completely block out the light, because what I don't want to do is I don't want to expose these unfilmed night vision. Unfilmed meaning it lets all the light in and there's no protection on it. I don't want to let that unfilmed light come in, and it'll actually damage the view of what I'm looking at. It'll scar it. It'll put this little debris in your field of view. So if I want to train in the daytime, I can put these caps on, and now it'll block out all the light except for a pinhole, and it'll give me like a really, really good training experience, not in the nighttime. So that's something you want to use or at least have in your accessory bin. When you're focusing night vision, focusing the night vision is something that you want to make sure you do it properly, because a lot of people do it incorrectly and they're not sure why everything is blurry or messed up, or they get dizzy and even nauseous when you're wearing it a ton. So let's go over this. The front optics are usually focus in and out, focus in and out. Where do you want your focus? Well, you want your focus to be the far away is crystal clear, and up close is blurry. So if somebody walks up to you, you shouldn't be able to see detailed outline of their face. You shouldn't be able to read your watch face. You shouldn't be able to read something on a screen. Far away, you should be able to read license plates. You should be able to read a sign. You should be able to read everything, because that is where we're assuming where the threats are. You know, that could change if you were exclusively wearing this for home defense. You could potentially sight these in a bit closer, but I always recommend zooming it out for your focus, because it'll give you the most coverage when you need it, because when somebody's right up close to you, you can already get a sense of who they are just by a lot of your senses. Also, when somebody's right close to you, you have the ability to just lift your head up and you can see completely underneath your night vision, and you'd be able to make them out if there was a little bit of light. So not something I want to focus up close. Going over the rear focus adjustments, the rear knobs, what they do is they basically zoom in and zoom out just slightly. So it pushes your vision where it'll make something look more zoomed in or less zoomed in. Now, I recommend once you get these to a position that you feel comfortable and everything feels symmetrical and you like it, use that, and then exclusively adjust the focus knobs. Sometimes people will change the rear and the front, and you'll get into this position where one tube is kind of zoomed in and in focus, the other one is zoomed out and in focus, and it gives you this like really weird dizzy feeling. And I've gotten super nauseous before because I'm walking around or I'm in a vehicle and my vision is just like one eye zoomed in, one eye zoomed out. Not something you want to play around with because it's just going to make it a really uncomfortable experience. Want to get these two to match, and then your focus as well. One more consideration you want to look for in your night vision is it internally illuminated? Meaning, is there a infrared flashlight, a non-visible flashlight inside the piece or not? These Photonis Vipers don't have an internal illuminator, meaning when I go into a really dark room, like pitch black, like a basement, I won't be able to see anything. Even with night vision, I won't be able to see it because I still need light. These Photonis, the Echoes, they have an internal illuminator, so they're tiny pinhole flashlight that actually looks really bright under night vision. It's the ability for me to see, and the enemy can't if it's pitch black. There are some limitations to it. You would be seen by somebody who has night vision as well, but that's definitely a go-to for me. Kind of a prerequisite when I'm purchasing night vision is I definitely want to make sure I have an internal illuminator because it gives me just a bit more functionality. When you have night vision, you can exclusively use those. When you have a pistol, you can train to point shoot. You don't need a laser. You can train to point shoot. You can train with your rifle. You can look through your sight. You can look through your optic. And you can do all this without any extra gear. However, if you really want to complement your night vision, what you want to do is you want to have all the bells and whistles, the accessories that really complement what you just purchased so that you have the total advantage at night. And that's a laser, like an infrared laser specifically. And you can get those on your pistol, you can get those on your rifle. You're also going to want an infrared capable red dot, right? So like a holographic sight. This EOTech holographic sight has night vision mode on it. And the reason you want that is because when I turn on the red dot, when I turn on that holographic sight, it's blinding red. Even when I turn it down, when I look through it on night vision, that red is so bright that it's going to flood out my vision. So yes, I can dim it down at night to see with the naked eye, but it's too much for the night vision if I was going to use that to look through the night vision. More importantly than that is if you want to forego having that optic or having that red dot, just going with an infrared laser is so important. And I say that because I have deployments overseas on night vision, countless missions overseas at night on night vision. I have never used my holographic sight on night vision outside of training because we trained to have the capability, but in reality, I never used it. I just looked over my gun and I used the laser for everything I needed. It's not to say I can't do it. It's not to say you can't do it at home. But if I had to decide between buying a night vision capable optic or a laser, I would just keep the old optic I have, save that for the daytime, and then my night vision would be solely rested on my laser. But why not have both? Well, I recommend having both. My laser, though, is so important because I co-witness it with my sights, and now I have the ability to point my laser onto any target that I have, whether I'm hunting, whether it's home defense, whether I'm operating and you're a police officer or military, and I can use that to just point and click on the target, and it's going to be accurate within a certain distance. You want to set up your laser in a position where you can see through your optic and your laser still will get on target. So all of the things that you put on your gun have to complement, your ability to work with all of them together. So I have to have my optic, but then if my laser is going to go on it, I could put it on the side, I could put it on the side, I could put it on the bottom. But for me, the most sense is for it to be on top. because if I don't have my pressure pad, I'm going to use my hand to actually initiate the button. So I have it specifically placed here in case I need to use it with my hand. I also have a pressure pad. The pressure pad is because it gives me my natural grip that I would use anytime I'm shooting. So I have my pressure pad placed where it needs to be. And then I have my infrared and visible flashlight on there as well. And none of that can block my laser. None of that can block my optic. So placing all of the attachments on your gun, it's a very strategic and important decision that you have to make because it all has to play into the same system. And it's here to support your night vision capability. When you're buying accessories, one more accessory that I have is an infrared and visible flashlight. Now, you're saying, well, I have night vision. Why do I need, maybe a visible flashlight? And that's because just because you're going night vision doesn't mean you don't need white light, because things up close are still blurry. And sometimes you just need to go white light because, the time dictates it, or it's easier and more convenient, and you don't need to be fully dark, or you need to signal to people or communicate with other people. So I have a visible flashlight that I can, press the button and the light goes, but I have the ability to turn the lens and have it go just exclusively infrared. So that's a huge advantage that I highly recommend. The pistols have them as well. You can have IR lasers, but also you want the Viz flashlight because that gives you the ability to use that tactic as well. So one doesn't take away the other, they're complementary. So hopefully this gives you a better idea of how to set up your gear, whether you've purchased or thinking about purchasing your night vision. Just remember, it's a big decision. It costs a lot. And the last thing you want to do is spend $8,000 to $10,000 or more on a set of quality night vision, and then you really just get an incomplete package because you buy cheap accessories. It is holistic. So I want to get the right helmet that's going to fit properly. I need the right night vision mount that's going to keep everything snug to the face and make sure it all works together. I need the right laser and IR light package because it's all complementary. And then lastly, my optic, something that fits in with everything together to really make this package complete. Buying night vision and having that advantage isn't absolutely necessary, but it gives you such a supreme advantage over threats, over the enemy, and it allows you to be in situations, whether that's emergency, whether that's self-defense, and have this confidence and have this ability that other people don't have. So it really is a worthwhile purchase, as long as it's worthwhile to you. So when you're thinking about buying night vision, keep all these considerations in mind because it's going to help give you and your family an advantage and keep you guys safe. If you like what you saw, like it and hit that subscribe button. We have a lot more content coming out. If you want to see more content on night vision or cool gear like this, please let us know. We'd love to show more of it. We have a ton of experience on nods and some of these accessories. We would love to hear from you if there's something specific you want to see. Also, let us know, what kind of night vision are you using if you have it? And if you don't have it, is it purely white light, or do you have any of the accessories that we shown or talked about? And as always, continue training, because none of this gear matters if you don't train. That's how we move forward, and that's how we progress.